So you're gonna have to bear with me. My memory is it's right on, but this was a very, very traumatic incident for me. Very. And so anyways, digging this up kind of hurts a little bit, but I do remember there was a regular traffic stop kind of situation, and then I got downstairs, and as far as I remember, that's kind of where. So at that moment, I saw them. Patrick was outside of the vehicle, I believe, at this point, and that's what kind of struck me as like a African American male, because obviously nobody's supposed to get out of the vehicle, but it ends up that we end up dead when we get out of the vehicle. And not to say that that's not the procedure. Nobody should get out of the vehicle, but that's what struck me as a 41-year-old African American male, just wanting to make sure everything went okay.
So you were worried at that point in time because you saw
Patrick because out of the vehicle, and I didn't know what reason he would be out of the vehicle for.
Could you hear anything between the two at that point?
There was like a dialogue. I wouldn't go on record to what it was that I heard, because I don't know specifically. I don't want to be wrong. But there was a dialogue, and I could tell in the dialogue he was confused. And the reason I say confused is because Patrick was confused. And the reason I say he was confused, this is what I say in giving the context of confused. The confusion is, first of all, you shouldn't have been out the car, as an African American male, the way I'm seeing it, and so I'm like, there's got to be something going on where he's having a discussion with the police officer. Don't you know he's got a gun? He's got a taser. He could kill you. That's what I say is confusion. Not like I saw him disoriented or anything like that. Like clearly he didn't know what the rules in America are about traffic stops. I told the state police is he didn't appear to be running to freedom for me. I know that might sound kind of crazy to you, but it doesn't seem like he was running. Like people that have committed big crimes, they run far away. Like they run in a straight line away from whoever's chasing them. This wasn't that. He was running like he was disoriented playing tag in two front lawns. And so that was the kind of disorientation I'm talking about, the type of like, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I don't want to be here. And at this time, then I look over and I see the guy that's in the car with him, and he's got a videotape recording, or he's got his phone recording, the situation. And so at this point, I see Officer Schurr trying to get Patrick together, and I see the guy in the car recording this situation. And then that's when I start yelling to the guy in the car, hey, get your guy, get your guy, get your guy. Tell him to stay down. Get your guy, get your guy. Because I didn't want to jump in the middle of a police chase and get shot myself. Got 5 daughters. I need to stay alive for them. But I didn't want this man, regardless of what he did, to die.
Okay. So I can tell you, so in terms of there is this chase, what happens in terms of how does the chase end, if you will? What happens between the officer and Patrick? What happens
is they get to kind of running around. When I say running around, they go around the car, and just, they're chasing, they're tussling. The officer has control of Patrick the whole time. And when I say control, I mean physical control. Like if it was a wrestling match, the officer's always winning 60-40. It's like a football game where one team always has the lead. He always had the lead, wasn't by much, and you could tell he was getting worn out, but he always had the upper hand.
The whole time they're fighting, and you indicated that Officer Schurr was tired,
yes.
Right? And you saw him out of breath.
Yeah.
Could you hear him exhaling hard and
yes,
difficulty breathing?
Yes, I could.
Okay. And could you hear Patrick Lyoya?
Yeah, they were, it's wrestling. Yeah, they were both breathing hard and it was what you would expect in grown men wrestling.
Talked about sort of a ratio of who's in control.
Yeah.
And I think you said the officer was 60% in control and Patrick was 40%.
He wasn't losing the game.
He wasn't losing.
Yeah.
But had he won?
No, he definitely hadn't won.
He never had him in the point where he had him completely in control.
Right, because he wasn't strong enough.
He wasn't strong enough. He
Right.
could not control Patrick Lyoya completely.
Right.
So he never had 100% control over him.
No, he didn't.
All right.
but he was also never threatened.
Did you see the taser?
No, I'm saying he was never threatened. He was never punched. He was always the one delivering the blows. He was never headlocked. He was just trying to get away from what I saw. Now, whether that's right or wrong.
Well, and let's talk about that, what you perceived. So when in his effort to get away, he's resisting the officer.
Yes.
Okay, at a minimum, you see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see the point where he grabbed the taser?
Yes, I did see the point where he grabbed the taser.
So the officer pulled the taser out.
Yep.
And Patrick grabbed it.
Yep.
Okay. So he
Yep.
didn't. The officer didn't shove it into his hand.
Right.
It was an affirmative act by
It was
Patrick
a defensive act to not. It's
to not get
what-
tased.
to not get tased. Yeah. What anybody else will go through in a situation where they felt like they were threatened and they had to get away.
Okay.
It was a natural reaction to me. If he was a criminal and had a gun, at that point he would have used the gun against the officer. But he was trying to prevent himself from being further harmed, whether that's right
Have
or
you
wrong.
ever met Patrick Lyoya before?
No, never in my life.
So you don't know what was in his mind.
No, I don't.